Well, what are the solutions? The first solution is higher productivity in the country. We need to retool our manufacturing. We need to have the technology to support our services. We need to educate our people. We need to give them the skills so that the productivity can be strong. We need to deal with the state enterprises so that they can be profitable. And we will work with them to make that possible. We need widespread home ownership, as I told you, so people have a stake in the economy. But more than that, we need to bring the private sector into partnerships with government. We need to bring the private sector into investment. And we need to make sure that the growth part of the economy is driven by investment. That is why people like CAMA, the business community of Trinidad and Tobago, the foreign investors who come here are so critical. Because in this situation, you need to have the economy explode and grow. And this is very important for us in Trinidad and Tobago. Because one of the other challenges is not just growth, but how you grow to a point where you can take our per capita income from the $20,000 it is now to about $30,000 over the next decade. And we're going to start that process of moving away from the middle income trap over the next 5 years. But in addition, we have 10 flagship projects that we have identified in the manifesto. You would have heard the Prime Minister talk about it. Projects in La Brea, projects in Port of Spain, projects in the East-West corridor around St. Augustine, projects in different parts of the country, 10 of them that we are going to develop. That is going to create construction jobs. It is going to grow the economy. When these projects are finished, whether it is a project in Port of Spain or a project in La Brea, when these projects are finished, they are going to bring sustainable good jobs. And while you are doing the construction, you can train people for those good jobs. So that there is a strategy at work here. Then I mentioned the manufacturing, I mentioned the services that we're going to double, and then finally the blue, green, and silver economy. You would have heard the Prime Minister said that. And it's very graphic because when you see the colors, you can see it, but they mean a lot. The green economy really means that we are going to attract to our country the kind of business that is environmentally friendly and that makes a difference not just to Trinidad and Tobago as islands and the region as islands, but makes a difference to the transformation of the global economy. And this is a very competitive thing. We are not just doing it because it's fashionable. When you do create green products, when you have green industries, you compete better with the other industries in the world that are trying to catch up. So it is a competitive strategy. The blue economy is because we have the blue sea around us. And there are a number of things that we can do with that, having to do with the maritime industries, having to do with the coastal zones around the ocean, a whole range of services, yachting, all of these things that we can do in Trinidad and Tobago. But all of these things that we can do and that we will do to boost the economy, raise the per capita income, increase the number of jobs, increase the level of income, all of these things would be great. But greater still if we are a united and cohesive and purposeful people. And our Prime Minister has taken every pain that she could to make that possible. There has never been a Prime Minister and a government of a country that has done development in the country across every point of the human population as this People's Partnership Government of Trinidad and Tobago. From Chagaramas to Toko, all along the East-West corridor. From the North Coast in Maracas, down all the way through Point Fortin into Cedros in Trinidad and Tobago. And not a community has been left out, whether it is Enterprise or East Port of Spain or Chaguanas or Cuba. Not a single community has been left out. And the reason we operate that way is because we know that a united people who feel very much an integrated part of government and governance will be a more powerful nation than a divided people. So we ask you, as we conduct this election campaign, to remember that unity and unity of purpose are what we stand for as a government and as a party. The UNC is an anchor party in the partnership that has made a world of difference over decades of history in this country. And I want to say we must move into the communities, we must move with the spirit of unity all over this country, and we must move to victory. Thank you very much, my brothers and sisters.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tiwari, for giving us a panoramic view of our economy, where we are and where we will be heading the next 5 years of governance. We have heard a lot, and amidst the challenges that we have faced, leaders like Dr. Tiwari and Dr. Munilal, guided by our Prime Minister, have been able to steer our country to become the pride of the Caribbean and a force to be reckoned with globally. As we continue, ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to introduce a true servant of the people. We in Oropochis are extremely fortunate to have representation in the form of Dr. Rudal Munilal. He has truly transformed the community physically, transformed the lives of the people socially, and he has truly done tremendously in our constituency of Oropochis. As we look forward to working with him for another term, I want to assure you we still have some work to do, and guided by our honorable MP, we're going to reach there. We're going to satisfy the needs of all, not only in Oropochis, but nationally. Ladies and gentlemen, it's our privilege. Let's all stand as we introduce Dr. the Honorable Rudal Munilal to introduce you at this point in time.
Great, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Raymond. Thank you all very much. May I begin by acknowledging the Minister of Planning and Sustainable Development, the very distinguished Dr. Boindradat Tiwari, a veteran, stalwart, former government minister, lecturer at the university, principal of the University of the West Indies, and now a key architect of our transformational plan to take Trinidad and Tobago forward. I want you to give him a round of applause and welcome him to the constituency of Oropochis. We also have a very dear friend at the table here, no stranger to these parts, but former chairman of the United National Congress, former chairman of Plebdeco, Mr. Kama Maraj. And of course, the longest serving councillor in the Commonwealth, Mr. Premchand Suku, chairman of the Penal Debe Regional Corporation. Officers, activists, soldiers, those of you who will carry the great message, those of you who will transmit the good news of the People's Partnership, we assembled at Oropochis tonight, as my colleagues have assembled throughout this country tonight, meeting their constituents and their activists, launching our manifesto, our agenda for progress. So throughout this land now, we are meeting in every area in Trinidad and Tobago to take our manifesto to the people. This is continuation of our manifesto launch, which started last Friday when the Prime Minister and Dr. Tiwari had a media launch in Sawa. Today is a Manifesto Monday, in which we decided that every constituency would meet their activists, the carriers of these messages, and speak to them, bring that message to you, so that when you go to campaign, you have the ideas, you have the plans, you have the policies. You can speak to the people and you can campaign. Tonight is a very special meeting here because our meeting is going live on radio. Our meeting is transmitted live on television, so that the national community is listening to us in the constituency of Oropochis. So let the national community hear us. Tonight we also mobilize in Oropouchis, but also in Trinidad and Tobago, we are mobilizing the entire country to come out to the Atto Bolden Stadium on Sunday from as early as 3 p.m. to come out on Sunday to rally with the UNC and the People's Partnership as we introduce all 41 candidates that will sweep to victory on September 7th. So Trinidad and Tobago is invited to Couva. All roads lead to Couva on Sunday. And you know, the media is very excited to hear every day. They want to know who's the candidate, who is candidate. The media is very excited. I think they're more excited than in some of the constituencies. But they want to know candidates. And that is why the Constitution and the law is so structured that on August 17th will be the day you bring your candidates to the polling division. So we assure the media and those people who are overly excited, like the PNM, we assure them that they will have their 41 candidates. Alwari asking why I don't fight San Fernando West. Why he don't come and fight Oropouchis? But if Alwari come here, he will be beaten by the spoiled votes. But brothers and sisters, tonight, we're focusing on the manifesto. Dr. Tiwari has spoken at length on this matter. And he has been the one carrying that message, along with the Honorable Prime Minister, who every single week the Prime Minister spends 99% of her time speaking on our plans, our programs, committing herself to projects in Trinidad and Tobago. This is the only party that has committed itself to a manifesto, to a program, to promises that we have made. We have with us too our pledges that we give, 20 pledges towards 2020. The other party are talking, but they are not telling you what they will do. The only idea Rowley had so far, and Karma said it, was to put a some plywood factory in Labre. They have represented Labre for 40 years. Today he come to tell them you'll put a plywood factory. Well, I can't repeat what somebody said here about any plywood and so on. But I want to tell you, brothers and sisters, that he has no vision. He has no plan. He has no program. Keith Rowley has been in public life for 30 years. We had parliamentary reform. Imagine the PNM in power over 30 years. They couldn't change the parliamentary rules and procedures. It is this government led by Kamla Persad-Bissessar that changed the parliamentary procedures and rules. And the Prime Minister will stand up in Parliament and answer questions. Answer questions like the British Prime Minister does. You know, when Rowley stand up, the first question he asks the Prime Minister, it is on the record forever. He asks about a fish market in Carenage. Jack Warner got a chance to ask a question. He wanted to know why he didn't get some fed ticket. That's what these fellas asked, you know. You thought they would have asked about diversifying the economy. They would have asked about the growth polls. They would ask, what more are you doing to incentivize the business community? One fella asked for a fish market. Next fella say he didn't get tickets to a fete. And these are the people who are campaigning. Yeah, well, I think he needs a ticket to New York now. Brothers and sisters, these are the people who come to you. These are the people who are coming to con you. Rowley, they're in Tobago, jumping up. Now that fella faces some serious questions from a working journalist. Did you read on Sunday? Now all these years I know him, I never know him as a bodyguard. Eh? I never associate him with bodyguard. I probably associate him with right guard, but not bodyguard. Now I'm hearing about these things. These are serious accusations made by a working journalist, an investigative journalist who is no friend of the United National Congress. No friend. I want to tell you, that is a journalist who every Sunday chasing down from Anand Ramlogan to Rudal Munilal to Kamla Persad-Bissessar. Chasing all over the country to write about all kind of things. This is no friend of the UNC. raised serious issues concerning the conduct of a man who wants to be prime minister, where she suggests that this fella just can't keep his clothes on. That is the truth. Now, that is serious, and the media association should take an interest in that and investigate that. That has led a reporter to leave her job over those serious allegations. And brothers and sisters, when faced with that, what did he say? He tried to deflect attention. He now said Kamala trying to kill him. Now I want you to remember, he came in Parliament with fabricated emails, you remember? And say the Prime Minister and government ministers were plotting to kill a journalist. Email gate. And the Integrity Commission showed that matter out because they got evidence from the United States that those emails were fabricated. They threw it out. Today he come again to say somebody trying to kill him. But you know what's interesting? There is not one report made to the police in Trinidad and Tobago from Keith Christopher Rowley claiming that his life is under threat. Not one report. Now you'll assume that if somebody threatens you in public life, you make a report to the police. So the police is informed, they can conduct an inquiry. Not one report, but claim the government trying to kill him. So today, people woke up in Washington, in London, in Japan, and if anybody had interest in doing business in Trinidad and Tobago, they want to join Sasha Cosmetics for a joint venture for cosmetics throughout Europe, they pick up the papers this morning on the internet, they go to the internet, and they see government trying to kill the opposition leader. That is how he's portraying this country. And when you are prime minister, you are also the foreign policy leader of your country. Honorable Kamala Persad-Bissessar traveled the whole world trying to encourage people to come here and invest, spend money in Trinidad, develop Trinidad and Tobago for the betterment of our people. And you claiming without any evidence, not even with a fake email, not even with a fake one, you claiming that the government trying to kill you and put that in the newspaper. That is the recklessness and irresponsibility of this leader of the opposition who in a few weeks is coming to the people to say, vote for me, I want to be prime minister. Brothers and sisters, Keith Rowley must be rejected by the people of Trinidad. He must be rejected by the people of Tobago. He must be rejected by all for that level of recklessness and irresponsibility. When there were threats to the life of the prime minister and government ministers, and I will tell you, including myself, we never went on a platform and beat with chest and said, we just hear somebody want to kill we. A report was made to the police. The police did what they had to do. We weathered that storm. We passed through the difficult time. There was no problem and so on. But that is not something you go on a political platform and politicize. And you know, Keith Rowley is the first opposition leader in this country's history to be provided with state security. Correct, police? Correct. No opposition leader in this country before him had government police with them, except him. And it was done under this government, provided with security. And now say the government want to kill he. Who provided him with security? And brothers, well, I think they give him more security now. They give him more now. But that will not stop him from making irresponsible and reckless statements. So brothers and sisters, and those of you who are not here but listening to our broadcast, beware of that. Beware of that. And I want to make the next point concerning that. If you have an allegation that anybody is trying to hurt you, injure you, threaten you, take it to the police properly. Don't go on a political platform in Tobago and gallery in yourself and seeking to politicize it and draw the government into that nonsense to deflect attention from a serious matter. That was the same Sunday that the newspaper had this story about a working journalist. That is the same Sunday. When he could not answer that, he said the government paying people to lie on him now. That is what he's coming with. Instead of answering, well, my solution is simple. Keith Rowley, why don't you do a lie detector test? And tell us if you keep on your clothes, you take off half your clothes, all your clothes. If you invited a journalist to come home. If he, now, you know, I had to tell all you all come from a rural area. Ganga Singh, ban hunting, he's looking for tattoo. Yeah? I want to tell you, I as a minister, 5 long years now, I minister. No reporter never come to my house one day. I cannot invite reporters to my house. That is improper. I have 3 offices I could invite them to. Rowley has an office in the parliament. He has one at the opposition leader office. He clearly has one in Diego Martin. 3 offices, but none suitable to invite a reporter. None suitable. Invite at your private residence. That is improper. So if you're prime minister, what happened? Every day a reporter coming to visit you as prime minister in your chambers. That don't work like that. You conduct government business and public business in public offices, not in your private house. And anyway, I don't want to say more about that before I breach some ethic code again. Brothers and sisters, as Dr. Tiwari told you, we have brought immeasurable development to rural Trinidad. There was a time when Keith Rowley was in government, a colleague of Rowley's, and I would not call his name because he's no more, he's deceased, told the former MP here, Trevor Sudama, he said, why don't you go back to the lagoon where you belong? Remember that? You remember that? Rowley sat next to him in parliament and laughed when he told Trevor Sudama that. That is how they consider the people of this area in rural Trinidad. Today, Rowley is promising people, vote for he go create a ministry of rural development. Huh? When we were going to turn sod for this university, the Western East, right here, Rowley said, Debe is no place for a university. You all remember that? He said, no, this place is for Doubles and Sahina and Baigani. It is not for a university for your children. I remember I went to university. Every Sunday you had to pack bag and go to St. Augustine and rent, and you share a room with somebody there. And every Sunday they bring a cardboard box, Mike. They bring a cardboard box full of food, and with a little dollars in a pocket and in the envelope for you. That is how families go. Today you have a university in your community for the whole of South, Point Fortin, Labre, Barrackpore, San Fernando. Rowley did not support that. And today we now have a highway. Today I was coming from Port of Spain. When I jump in the car at South K HDC building, and we jump on the highway, the next time we stop was Debe. One road. Correct? And that will go to Point Fortin to benefit Labre, Faizabad, and the people of Point Fortin. Not Keith Rowley didn't do that. In fact, when that fella lie down on the ground and say, stop eating because of the highway, you all remember that? He lie down on the ground, he said, stop eating because of the highway. Rowley say, you must have talks with him and stop the highway. And if I become Prime Minister, Rowley say, I will entertain him and discuss with him the continuation of the highway. That's what he said. Kamla Prasad Bisesa had more strength than man. When she stand up, she said, listen, you could stop eating how much you want. We will build that highway to Point Fortin. That highway to Point Fortin is one of her strongest legacies, because other people would have crumbled when a fella come on the pavement, lie down and say, look, I'm not eating again, I will die if you don't stop this highway. Work continued. Rowley cave in, you know. Big bad as he is, he cave in. He did not have that strength to stand up. And that is what leadership is all about. It's about courage. I remember when we were destroying some crops in Shogwanas, Egypt, because we warned the people about 10 times to stop planting. Anytime we going on the land, they continue to plant. We had to move one Saturday morning. They came with placard by my ministry, Munilal must go. Everybody, today, those same people asking for houses there for their children. But you had to be strong. Leadership is about strength. It's not caving in. And Rowley does not have that strength. He doesn't have it. The PNM, how much years, promised a fire station in Mayaro. Eric Williams went up there with a minister called Tishera. There was somebody called Tishera. He went up there in a old car in 1962 at Independence. He had a colleague there, 8 years old, and he remembers well. Eric Williams going up to Mayaro and promising a fire station. Today, Kamla Prasad Bisesa building the fire station in Mayaro. Brothers and sisters, and Friday coming here, the Honorable Prime Minister will move to Cuba to commission the Children's Hospital, the first of its kind. In 4 years, we have completed 2 hospitals and have started construction on 2 more. Huh? San Fernando Teaching Hospital. You lie down on the bed there, you see the whole Gulf of Paria. That is the People's Partnership. That's Kamla Prasad Bisesa put that hospital in San Fernando. Over 200 beds. There was a time when we were in opposition, you all forget. People come there and they say, look, my loved one on a bench, sleeping on the ground, on the cold ground, on a pirha. Huh? Today, you don't hear that anymore. You don't hear that because there's a teaching hospital fully operational. We did that in 1 term. The Children's Hospital in Cuba, another 230 beds to go. We did that in 1 term. The Point Fortin Hospital. Every year, every Minister of Finance, I believe from Eric Williams, talking about the Point Fortin Hospital. It is under construction, started in Point Fortin. The Arima Hospital started. The Arima Hospital we have started. Baliram Maharaj from the east. That fellow went with a placard and stand up somewhere and saying, please build the Arima Hospital. We had the honor of inviting him to turn the sod under construction. 4 hospitals in 4 years, you know. Which government on this planet could complete 2 and start 4 hospitals in 4 years? It is only the government of Kamla Prasad Bisesa. And the police station, in 10 years, the PNM built 1.5 police station. In 10 years, huh? 1.5. In 4 years, we built 8 police stations. We have police station we yet have to open. It have police in it. It have thief in it. And we have reached to cut the ribbon yet. We have to open police station in Maruga, in I think somewhere Komoto. We open a police station in Labre. We open a police station in Piaco, one in Maloney. Correct? One in Piaco as well. We have been opening in Arima. I forget that. In Arima, state-of-the-art police stations and so on. We did that in 4 years. And I say 4 years because in 1 year, as Karma told you, when you get into government, man, you take 6 months before you find out what is happening properly. You assess, you revise, you look at everything. It takes you another 6 months to plan, to design things, to go through a lot of the bureaucracy. So all we have built is in 3.5, 4 years, you know. That's all we have built. I see the PNM talking, you were in Saudi, the Brian Lara Stadium. Now they have no shame, huh? Talking the Brian Lara Stadium. They have no shame at all. We built the Beach High School. They left it closed for 10 years and denied over 5,000 children an education because they didn't open the Beach High School. They say they had gas, the children were inhale gas. We opened the Beach High School in 5 years now. Not one child or teacher complained about any odor there. Huh? The Beach High School. And Dr. Tiwari liked me to tell him and remind him that we must work hard. Because if the PNM come back there, they will not open the Children's Hospital. They will leave that for Karaili vine to run, for snake and reptile to infest there. You will pass there and see bush. You will pass there and see bush and grass on that Children's Hospital if the PNM comes in power. But I want to tell you something, Brian Lara. That project started at $260 million. That's how it started. And I think it was probably worth that. They have 5,000 to 7,000 seats. Where if it rain, not one human being sheltered. They have a media box where if you're watching a cricket match, you have to look left, move across a post and look right, move to the next side during 1 ball. That is a media box there. They have VIP boxes that is 10 feet by 10 feet. When you put a table and a few chairs there, you hold 6 people in the VIP box. That is the Brian Lara. They have serious structural problems. They didn't do proper drainage. So it flooded out completely the lower floor that is below the ground. That's flooded out. It's gone long time. They did not do perimeter drainage plans around there and several problems with design. We had to go now to do studies, which we did, professional studies. This is not called calling in a fellow with a tape and say, measure up and tell me what to do, you know. It's a serious thing. People had to come from abroad and thing. You had to go to cabinet to approve funding, even to do that type of testing, geotechnical work and so on. We did that. It took a year, year and a half. We said we're ready to now finish the Brian Lara. We went to cabinet. We gave cabinet some options. To finish the Brian Lara, to do covering, to change seating, to do drainage, earthworks and so on, will cost this country another $200 million. That's the cost, right? And as we reach now where we say we want to finish it because we want to deal with it, that is when you had this problem from January, end of last year, January, where you had a fall in the energy prices. The price of oil fell, gas. We had to go and revise our budget. So from an oil expectation of how much? $75 or something, we had to come down to 45. Yeah, we had to move from 80 to $45 to do over another estimate. And when it happened, we could not have $200 million available like that. When the PNM was in power, when Rowley was in the cabinet, they had money. They had money like peas. That's why they squander it all out. When we came into office, we had to make, manage with few less dollars. So we had to say, do we cut housing? Do we cut pension? Do we cut public assistance? Do we cut the roads program to finish the Brian Lara? And we couldn't. And we have said in the next term, as the resources become available, we will complete the Brian Lara Stadium because we have already done, to me, the hardest part, which is the technical work. Once you complete technical work, construction work is not long. We have done it properly. And I could tell you something, under the new UDCOT, we have implemented 95% of the recommendations of the Commission of Inquiry, another governance issue. So, we have done the hardest part of that job, which is the assessments and the technical, scientific work. The Brian Lara Stadium must be completed. We are now in a position where resources permitting, we will complete it. Rowley talking about completing that. Why you didn't ask him to complete Las Alturas? In Las Alturas, $60 million wasted. He was Minister of Housing. That building flaking off now like Bermuda's biscuit. Flaking away, cracking away. That is Rowley's legacy to Trinidad and Tobago, Las Alturas. That is his legacy. In Edinburgh, all of you travel at some time on the highway. You all know it have two ugly looking towers in central Trinidad and Shagwanas. When you pass, you see it there. And when you look at it, you see some matchbox hole. That is each one is an apartment. When we went into office, when we assessed that place, that cost $118 million, brothers and sisters, for more or less 118 housing units. So every apartment hole you watching there is $1 million, unfinished. That unfinished, huh? It is the next $200 million to finish that. It have no emergency entry and exit. The bathroom, the windows to a washroom is not on the outside, it's on the inside, so it is in the corridor. So if you're walking on the corridor there, all the odor and everything is from everybody's washroom coming down the road. Huh? They have posts in the middle of the bedroom. So if you get an apartment there and you buy a bed, you have to cut a hole in the middle of the bed to put it in the bedroom. That's what they build. That's what they build. It have no garbage chute and so on. So if you have rubbish now and you come out in the top apartment, you have to take all them steps and come down to bring your garbage out in the night. Because there's no rubbish chute, garbage chute they call it. There's things. Buildings are designed with that. This is not new technology. We have a list of the defects. Again, we had to deal with that. Cleaning up the PNM mess. That's what they left us with. That is Keith Christopher Rowley as Minister of Housing. Every time you pass on the highway, watch this $1 million abandoned apartments. $118 million. And say, Rowley, that is what you want to come back to build? That is what he want to come back to build. Because that is their legacy. And coming now to tell people, vote for we will construct this and construct. What port in Toko? When A&R Robinson under government where Dr. Tiwari, was a member, prominent member. When the NAR was going to put that deep water harbor in Tobago, Rowley tell Robinson, he said, you're going to build a duck pond there? That was the deep water harbor to open Tobago for tourism, for cruise ships and so on, and create an economy with that. He tell the NAR government, he said, oh, you're coming to build a duck pond there. That is his vision. And today, promising the people of Trinidad and Tobago, what ferry service from Toko to Scarborough? Yeah. Every hour. But don't mind, it will take 4 hours to reach to Toko. We are building a highway network throughout this country. And Dr. Tiwari made a brilliant point a few days ago. I heard him. Everybody's saying, what you doing about traffic? What you doing about traffic? Rowley is fixated on something called a racket rail. Right? Yeah, the racket rail. They spent $500 million on studies for that when they were in power the last time. Eh? $500 million. He said, vote for me. We want to spend the next $500 million to study it again. So, they're obsessed with this racket rail. I don't know why. They're obsessed with it. It's an obsession for him. He said they want to put a racket rail so we will get traffic ease up and everybody could go to and from. But Dr. Tiwari had the idea. When you decentralize, you will not have that level of traffic on the road because people will not be going to Port of Spain, San Fernando that way. You will have ministries located in Princestown, San Fernando, Point Fortin, Arima, Port of Spain, of course, Sawa. You will not have that amount of people in the first place. So Dr. Rowley and the PNM, they have no plan for decentralization because they believe in the future thousands of people still have to go to Port of Spain every morning and leave every evening. Brothers and sisters, that's not our vision. When we decentralize, we are proud. Senator Fazal Karim, I believe, his ministry has established a beautiful building in Shoguanas as the first ministry, I believe, to be completely decentralized out of Port of Spain. We have open offices throughout the land. Ministry of Legal Affairs, birth paper, death certificate, all these kind of things throughout the country now. You can go and do your business. We want to strengthen the license office and so on to conduct your business. The PNM is about centralization. Everything you get up, leave home 3 o'clock in the morning to go to Port of Spain. Spend the whole day waiting in Port of Spain, and then you hear a clerk didn't come to work because that person had a day off. And they say, okay, come back next week now. That is PNM's culture. That is their culture. So we cannot believe Keith Rowley. Yes, see how they're trying to make he up now, as if there's the first time he come to politics in his life. They try to remake this man about 5 times, you know. And every time they try to make him over, it is like a worse option than the last one. You know, it's like this Rocky movie. Every time you try to make one, it come out worse than the last. No, not even Sasha Cosmetics could help Keith Rowley with a makeover. Kama, sorry. No, not even that. Brothers and sisters. So they're trying to remake him now as some intellectual. He's sitting in the garden talking to, I don't know, Baigan and Bodhi in the garden and so on. But nothing could help him. They have no plan. They have no vision. And every time they try to make him calm, he goes somewhere and he gets on angry on the platform. I don't know how. He went to Tobago and quarreling that the Prime Minister want to kill him and people lying on him and so on, and he jumping up crazily in Tobago. Every time they try to calm him down. They bring candidates. Now in Orapuchis, I know, you all just tell me, in fact, all you just boof me up for talking about the PNM in Orapuchis. They have a candidate from somewhere around the place here. I don't know his name yet, but we'll find him. You rest assured, he will not, he will vote UNC. That candidate, he will not trouble the scores on election day. He will not trouble the scores, as we say in cricket. So we must not take them on seriously. We have a lot of work. We have to mobilize the constituency. We have to mobilize throughout the country to ensure that people come out and they are well equipped. They have the knowledge. On Sunday, I want to repeat, on Sunday we go to the Atobolam Stadium at Couva for 3 o'clock. We mobilize all the people throughout Trinidad and Tobago to come out for the presentation of candidates to ensure that the People's Partnership, we will amass in excess of 25,000 persons in support of Kamla Prasad Bisesa as Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. And I want also to make this point. I want to make this point. This Prime Minister is defined. by courage, but is also defined by compassion. This is the only prime minister in our history, and possibly the only prime minister ever, to have ever reached a stage where a prime minister has in her personality that level of courage, but that capacity for compassion. Few leaders have that. This is a prime minister whose first action was to remove the coat of arms from the car that carries the prime minister, because she said that that coat of arms was really for the president, not for the prime minister. Remember, the former emperor had the coat of arms. Her first task, as she took the oath, was to tell them, take off the coat of arms and put back PM1. That was an act of humility. Then, her first cabinet note established a children's life fund. That children's life fund saved over 200 children who could have been dead today. Dead, had it not been for Kamla Prasad-Bisesa. And you know, in the media and in the PNM, they want to make fun and joke, because they had, in all government agencies, you will have auditing and so on. And as they audit, they had some problem, I think, with $20,000. So they had a 10-part series on TV to explain 20,000. Yeah, 10-part. In Tobago, they can't explain $1 billion. But so far, the TV don't have an expose on this $1 billion in Tobago that they can't account for. They say, no, that is irregularity. That is normal accounting irregularity, the $1 billion. But the $20,000, we have a 10-part series on that. But don't let them criminalize and demonize the children's life fund. Without that, your children, our children, could be dead without that children's life fund. And what did she do? Every child a laptop. Every child a laptop. You get a laptop as you go to school. They laugh at that. They say, don't give laptop to dummy children. They made jokes. Kamla Prasad-Bisesa, a laptop for the children. As you go forward to education under this government, over 100 schools constructed by Ministry of Education, Tim Gopi Singh. Never before in history. And when you come to university, well, you know about university, you live here. The construction program, the training, look in this area, we have the MIC Center, I think, in this area. We have so much training opportunities now. So your children are educated. They are educated from preschool. I think we have almost close to universal preschool as well. We have universal preschool in this country. Children at the preschool level to the university, we take you there so we can upgrade the human capital. So all the development poles that we talk about, all the development, because when we build hospitals, that Kuva hospital will create 2,400 jobs. Many will be technical jobs. So we need children to have that technical education so they can get the jobs that the hospital in Point Fortin, in Kuva, in Arima will create. And brothers and sisters, this is the vision of Kamla Prasad-Bisesa. You see it in infrastructure. I don't have to tell you about that. You know about that. You see it in health. You see it in education. You see it in every... look, grongs light up. Somebody complaining that we light up too much grong now. They can't see Maniko on the road now. Huh? Waganga bandats. You have to think about that. So, they light up grongs. Nobody in this country could tell any one of you that they live in a community that has not seen a newly lit grong, that has not seen a school, that has not seen roads paved, a community center, drainage. Rowley talk about rural development. He said, I will rural ministry. You know, in Parliament for 5 years, what they laugh at and call we? They say there's a box drain government. All we doing is building box drain. But brothers and sisters, for 30 years you complain about drainage. In my office here, every single Tuesday we in opposition, I hear, what the people come for? I tell them once, I say NLCB should have a first prize of a box drain. Everybody in this area want box drain. Mohes Road, complain about a river. Today with the road is fixed. We had to put speed hump now. You could land a plane at Mohes Road. You could land an aeroplane in Mohes Road. And Rowley laughed at us and called us a box drain government. And today he wants to tell you he will develop rural Trinidad. That is the hypocrisy we talk about. And that is why we cannot allow them. A fella tell me, Bo, a fella tell me, he said the only policy here from Rowley is something on the environment. It's something to do with recycling. Because you recycle Camille Robinson Regis, you recycle Fitzgerald Hines, you recycle Coleman Burt. So the only thing he's into is recycling deadweight politicians and deadbeat politicians. That's the only thing. Camille Robinson on the platform quarreling. You all remember her? She took a credit card, taxpayers' money credit card, and went to buy, what to say? Before the ethics committee charged me again. Went to buy some accessories. Okay? That is what they do. That is what they do when they're in office. When in office the Prime Minister had any reason, any allegations against ministers. Listen, man, when you run in a cabinet with Kamala Prasad, you're quaking when Thursday morning comes, you know. If it have some allegation about you, let me tell you something, the road is very narrow. If you get an allegation about you and it is reasonable, or there is something, or you know, you make a mistake or something, let me tell you something. With Kamala Prasad, when you slip, you slide. And you're out. It don't have no two ways about that. It have no two ways about that. In that government that Rowley was in, a fella in Canada was a high commissioner. They catch him, I think he failed a breathalyzer 3 times in Canada. Yeah? The fella was a high commissioner in Canada, he failed a breathalyzer, they charge him. They bring him back to Trinidad and promote him. They promote him, he became a minister. Huh? Yes, it was a high post. That is their track record. They had fellas, they had allegations of collecting money all over the place. And today Rowley said, vote for me, we will deal with corruption. But when we brought the procurement law, they did not support the procurement legislation. Didn't support procurement legislation, but say, vote for me, we will deal with corruption issues. When under their government, they had the worst form of corruption. The worst form. And today, Jack Warner, you all must forgive me, but I must say something. He up and down the place. I understand he rent 50 motorcar. Not to campaign, you know, everyone to follow a government minister. So they probably have, how much government minister we are here? They probably have 2 eating doubles right now. To follow government ministers, as Trinidadians, they say, to Mako. And to peep, to see where you're going, what you're doing. If you're making a mistake, you're going in the night, maybe you're pulling the wrong house. In the morning, you go to the wrong office. That's what he's doing. That's his politics. And then promising vote for him. He said if you vote for him, he will build a fraud court. Now how? That is for who? Himself? So we have to ignore him. We have to ignore him. As I said, he's not fighting election, he's fighting extradition. He wants to remove Kamala Prasad Bisesa from office. I want to tell you, I mean, I could tell you it's a very private meeting. I don't know if we're still live. We're not live anymore, so I could say it. Right. I will tell you that he wept when Kamala Prasad Bisesa threw him out the cabinet. Huh? He wept. And more than that, he begged. He begged for more time in office. About 7 days. He begged for time. This fella cried and begged when the time came. And she acted when the report of the David Simmons committee came out. That is a Caribbean known jurist in Barbados. That was the first time that there was judicial findings on his conduct. All the years before Movelang, old talk, normal thing. From the time she got this report, she acted. He couldn't believe it, you know. He wept uncontrollably. He stood there in awe with his mouth agape, weeping uncontrollably and begging for a few days more. So he could get a few dollars more. Yeah? Begging. And that is and he cried. He had no pride and dignity to tell the Prime Minister, thank you very much for the opportunity to serve the country. I will take care of my private business and so on. He wept and cried and begged. And today, bowl up and down the place to say, he put she as Prime Minister. That fella has no shame. And I want to tell you something. Baslew Pandey gave him the safest seat. Gave him the safest seat. Oh, they now tell me we live on TV. Well, nothing. We go clip out that. So, I want to tell you something in winding up now. I want to tell you something in winding up now. That this election is the most important election this country will face. On September 7th is the most important decision you will make. And it takes a long time to build and develop a country. It takes Dr. Tiwari and others like him working 10, 15 years to develop a country to the level of prosperity that you want, the paradise. I want to tell you, it only takes 1 or 2 years or less to destroy a country. The PNM could destroy this country in 1 year. You say 1 day. And there are people who are saying, God forbid Rowley become prime minister, they will migrate. I've heard that. That's what people are saying. And I want to tell you, when people come for house every week, if I want to get somebody angry, I tell them you will get the house after election. They have no faith, because you see, elections is not something, I mean, we are confident, but you don't look in a crystal ball and say you're winning. You fight hard. None of us know the results, which be how much seats and so on. We are confident, but we cannot say for sure, 100%. So there are people who believe that if the PNM comes into power, they will never have a chance to get a housing unit in their life. So they are desperate. They are desperate. They are vulnerable. I told somebody that recently. The person got angry, more angry than Rowley, with me, and said, I throw them to the wolves because they cannot get their keys before September 7th. I throw them to the wolves. I said, no. A lady, I said, madam, have faith, have hope. We will return and we will continue this work. If people knew 100% and they had that faith, everybody, you must have faith that we will return on September 7th with a resounding victory. And brothers and sisters, my dream, like your dream, will be on September 8th. His Excellency Anthony Thomas Aquinas Carmona generates a call to the Honorable Kamala Prasad Bisesa. And he says to her, Madam, I have taken note of the results of last evening, and I now invite you. I invite you to the office of the President to take an oath to be the next Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. We must work hard towards that realization. Thank you. God bless you all, and may the people of Oropouchis live forever. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Muila. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of tonight's proceeding. Thank you very much for your presence. We have refreshments for all of you. You partake of something at the end when you return to your homes. Safe journey. Good night. God bless you.
That was a paid political broadcast.